Guys, everything that I am and all that I am and all that I will be started with my relationship with God. I was raised in a two-parent home. They were godly people. And in my day and time, there was no daycares. And if there were a few daycares, there was no daycares for a person like me. You know what I'm talking about, a person of color. But my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother's parents lived next door to us. I'm here to tell you right now, that was the best daycare that anybody could have. I had the best meals. I had the best toys. I had somebody that was understanding and was for me at all times. So I started out with parents teaching me who God was, my grandparents enforcing it, and they're molding me and getting me ready for a world that might not be so kind. They didn't tell me right off the bat that I was a person of color and that the world may not be nice to me because I'm a person of color. They started me off telling me I could do anything that I wanted to do. I could accomplish anything that I wanted to accomplish, but I had to keep God as my foundation. You know, as a child, I'm wondering, okay, that sounds good. And I came through a generation from what mother and dad said and grandmother and grandfather. You believe that. You took that to the bank. That was a check that you took to the bank, and it was not going to bounce. So right off the bat, I knew God was this cool dude. He was very cool. And anything that I needed, he was going to be there for me. He was going to take care of me. He was just going to be my guy. Then I started getting into some things coming on up in elementary school, getting into some things, trying to show out a little taste. I'm going like, okay, when I got in trouble, where is God? So I came home one day and I asked my mom, okay, you know, this happened and got in trouble and got a little spanking and God wasn't there. And my mother said to me real quickly, now you see, Aretha Kaye, when you make your trouble, he doesn't have to be there. But you need to understand something, that you got a whipping. It wasn't any worse than that. He was still there because it could have been worse. They could have sent you home from school. You could have lost grades. My mama always was the person of reason. So as I began to move up the ladder in education, education became very, very important to me. And in my home, education was important. And the first thing that I got in trouble about, really serious trouble about, was not making good grades and not trying. My mother said to me, you're not a D student. You may not be a straight A student, but you're not a D student. And I want you to learn early not to settle, not to think that you can wait to the last minute and get by. And at 61 years old, guys, I am still a procrastinator. But I am not a last minute person. I'm the last 5 minutes. I can operate real well. Give me 5 minutes and I can perform miracles. Okay? All right. Now I'm not a last minute person. Now I raised a son who is a last second person. He can clock, but when he involves me, then there's a problem. I can't go to the last second. And it took me forever to get that across to him. Okay, G, we're good partners if you give me 5 minutes. But if you give me a second, we're in trouble, especially if you're dependent on me. But the other side of that is, if at the end of my 5 minutes, I've only got a second and I needed 5 more minutes, who you think I'm going to call? Not Ghostbusters, but Graylin Person, because he can get it done in a second. I was born and raised here. I'm not just Ozarks own, but I'm Clarksville own. And one of the reasons why that I never really encountered a lot of obstacles of what I wanted to do and I couldn't do it is because I was raised in a community that believed in its own, and I never, ever, ever really experienced racism. You're going like, okay, you are crazy. No, I didn't. When we integrated when I was in the 6th grade. When we integrated, there was no problem because the kids that I was going to school with were the kids that I played with every day. They lived across the street from me. And we kids, who people don't know anything, we couldn't understand why I went that way to school and they went that way to school. Man, and then when we integrated, it was just a big old family reunion at a big old party. Okay? Now the grown-ups, they were a little bit nervous about things. Okay? But we kids, we had it. We had it going on. We were already friends. We already knew the likes and dislikes of each other. We had it going on. Clarksville High School, that's my place. When I got to Clarksville High School, the first thing that I found out, one of the first things that I was reassured about was that whatever I wanted to do, if I was willing to work for it, willing to strive for it, and not quit, I could get it done. I am a person that was the first person of color to do a lot of things. But as I was doing those things, I didn't think, okay, I'm black. No black person has ever done this before. All I was thinking about was, this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something I want to achieve, and I'm going for it. My mom and daddy had told me I could. My grandparents, who were my first teachers, told me I could. All my teachers had told me I could. My pastor at church had told me I could. So why was I not going to try? The only way to fail, my brothers and my sisters, is to never try. And not to keep on trying. You can't quit. No matter what the end results are, you can't quit. As my brother said, his outcomes may not have been what he wanted them to be, but it was a win when he gave it all he had and they did everything that they thought they could to win. 3 weeks ago, my high school, the high school that I teach at, Tuckerman, Arkansas, Jackson County School District, high school basketball team went to the championship, state championship. And we felt like we won. We lost, but we felt like we won because we did everything possible that we could do. We didn't feel like we got some great calls, but we did everything possible. So it was almost a win for us. The big win was that we got there. That was a great feat. We were in the Final Four, so a whole lot of schools never made it. But I'm going to go back to college. When I came to this college, I met a gentleman by the name of Dr. Charles Dawson. He was my music dad. And he saw something in me that no one else ever saw. I sang in church all the time. My mama started me as a little girl singing in church. Got whippings about singing in church. Didn't want to. I wanted to sit in the back and pass notes and show out the way kids want to do. My mom would always come and get me if I sneaked to the back and bring me to the front. And sometimes my punishment was right in front of everybody. A pinch, a hard pinch. And your face couldn't show that it would hurt. And you certainly couldn't say, ouch. Because that called for 2 or 3 more pinches. And if you looked crazy, that called for a trip outside. And a trip outside was going to be a spanking. Can y'all tell me something? Where was Scan in those days? Nobody told my mom and daddy that they couldn't whip me. And let me tell you something. I was not abused. I tell my kids, if I'd have gotten one less whipping, one less grounding, there's no telling what type of menace to society I would have been. Whatever I've done it big and I've done it well. Now, this is a kind of raw, crazy analogy, but I'd have probably had about 25 children by about 35 different men. That's scary, isn't it? Now, that's something my mom and dad saw in me, and they whipped it out of me. Now, not that I was excited about men, but that I like to do things in a big way and that I could be very, very colorful in my choices. They scared me about that promiscuity thing, so I wasn't one of those girls either. But going back to college, I came onto this campus, And right about that time, I realized that I was too young to be in college. I turned 16 in January of my senior year. Okay, I had to come home and sit down and talk to Mama about this. Okay, now what happened? Well, what happened was when I started school at the proper age, I was in a black school. My mom had taught me how to read. She had taught me how to write. So what do you think? I was what? Ahead of the game. I am the recipient of a double promotion. So I graduated high school at the age of 16. I came on this college campus at the age of 16. And still to this day, I'm trying to figure out why my mom and dad let me do that. I came to this campus, everybody was dating, everybody was driving, everybody was doing a lot of things that I had not done. They were doing a lot of things that I was not going to do, but it sure looked like fun. Well, my music dad, Dr. Dawson, he got that 16 thing out of my mind and grabbed me, gave me a scholarship, put me in the choir, not just mentored me as my music dad, but he all became my dad. The second year that I was here, I went into my voice lesson, and he said to me, Miss College Ozarks, it was College of Ozarks, Miss College Ozarks pageant is going to be in about a month, and you're going to represent the choir. So wait a minute, what did you say about that? You're going to represent the choir. And I said, I don't know about that. Now, what is it about? He said, well, there's a evening gown competition, there's a swimsuit competition, and there's a talent competition. I know you'll kill that talent competition. I said, so you think I'm ugly, but I can sing? So he said, no, I'm just saying that you are the total package, Bagsby. He calls me Bagsby. You are the total package. And I said, Doc, I still don't know about that. Okay. I'm 17 then. All right? I'm getting ready to turn 18. He said, well, I think it'll be a good deal. So I'm already in my mind, no, it's not going to happen. What happens that day is when I come in from school, he called my mama and my daddy. My mama and my daddy were large and in charge at my house. And if they were alive today, they would still be large and in charge. So I came in the door. My mom was all excited. You're going to be in that pageant. And I said, well, I just don't know about that. My daddy said, you're going to be in that pageant. Okay. Something that I didn't want to do and I was really scared of, opened doors for this little girl that I could have never imagined. Okay? I won the pageant. And I was going like, oh, what is this? And then they told me, they didn't tell me until later, that pageant was a prerequisite of the Miss Arkansas pageant. So I'm sure not for that thing. Miss Arkansas pageant. Then it kind of clicked in my mind that because of who I was, that might not even be something that could happen. Doc said, you go and be the Bagsby that I know, you're going to be fine. I went to that Miss Arkansas pageant, and I won the Coleman overall talent winner. That was the best talent in the pageant. Talent was 50%. I won the evening gown division, and I was second in swimsuit. Okay. That set me up for something pretty good, right? I win that talent preliminary, and that qualifies me for top 10. I get to top 10. That qualifies me for a serious run for Miss Arkansas. I'm still not sure if I want this thing or not. But my daddy is sitting on the second row looking at me. I want it. Yeah, I want it, okay? I want it, whether I want it or not. I want it, okay? So that night, I won the overall talent, and I became the second runner-up. I was the first person of color to win a preliminary. That was the talent preliminary. They didn't announce the evening gown, but I won that too. First person of color to become top 10. And when you're having all of these points, why was I second runner-up and not Miss Arkansas? You're probably going, okay, what happened? The girl that won was in my division. I'd already beat her in swimsuit, in talent, and evening gown. So how did she win the title? The people that were in charge of the pageant came to me after the pageant was over. Now, imagine this little girl, 18 years old, from Clarksville, Arkansas, from the University of Ozarks, College of the Ozarks. Ozarks had never had a queen to go down there and even be noticed. Was I proud? Was I even worrying about being Miss Arkansas? I had won and not won because I did everything that I could do to win. I always liked dressing up. My mama and my Girl Scout leader who designed my gowns, they had me together. Doc had my talent together. Now that swimsuit thing, I'm a little nervous about that. But when I got there, I found out I was okay in that division too. I was a tomboy, so I was one muscle. I used to be teased about being muscular and didn't realize that was to my benefit. My sister used to say, you got those big old ugly muscles in your legs. And I wanted to hide them. So I was really scared when I put that swimsuit on that everybody was going to pay attention to those muscles. And they did. But they won me that position. After the pageant and me being excited about that and everybody being excited and happy for me, it still didn't come to me that I probably should have won that pageant. Pageant organizers came to me and they said, we had a northern judge. You should have won this pageant. Once again, I say to you, I did win. First person of color to win a preliminary. First person of color to be in the top 10. First person of color to win the talent award. First person of color to be a runner-up. She was just Miss Arkansas. She didn't win any of those. People were still trying to figure out how she won. Okay, Miss Arkansas gets a contract to make several appearances. She gets a wardrobe, she gets a car. Runner-ups get a contract. I got a contract. Let me tell you how I really won that thing. She had about 20 appearances. I had about 50. Did I win that thing? I won that thing. Okay, now we're in 74. I don't know how Clarksville is for you guys right now, but once again, I never experienced racism and discrimination. Let me tell you a quick story. My father-in-law, I found my sweetheart here at Ozarks. I married an Ozarks man. And my father-in-law brought, all of his siblings came to Ozarks. My father-in-law said to me, when he came in 66 or 67, that as he came up the hill, that he saw this young black man and young white woman walking down the hill. And he said, oh my God, they're going to hang him by nightfall. He said the hardest decision he had to make was whether to leave his daughter here or not. And she called him later on and said, Daddy, you know, that's what goes on the campus of Ozarks. So I'm in good shape. I never experienced that. So I didn't really get it. Didn't have a chance to be sour or bitter about not winning Miss Arkansas, because to me, I won. I had more appearances than her. People knew me. They knew me. They didn't know her. There were a couple of places I went to represent the Arkansas pageant, and they saw me and they said, we were looking for Kaye Baxby. I am Kaye Baxby. Oh, okay, well, we just want you to judge. We don't want you to sing. Singing, music has been my passion. I understood God better through music. I understood a lot of life lessons through music, and music opened a lot of doors for me. Something happened during this one pageant where they told me they didn't want to sing, me to sing. And they came and got me and said, we need you to sing. I sang. And at the end of that pageant, when the pageant was over, the very people that came to me and told me they didn't have time for me to sing were the people that came up to me and were crying and said, so music opened that door. Ozarks opened many doors for me, guys. It taught me to persevere. It taught me that I could do anything that I wanted to do if I was willing to work hard for it. It taught me to love and trust God because I went to chapel every Tuesday. My parents chose a Christian college so that I would have a foundation in God. And I had strong parents that taught me perseverance. Then I got college parents. Miss Qualls is one of my college parents. I have a show choir. A lot of the moves that we use in choreography, Miss Qualls taught me in dance. This is one of the greatest places that I've ever been, and it opened many doors for me. If you will use it as you're supposed to, you'll take positive vibes from here. You can make or break. Even if you leave in the middle, if you have adversity, it will teach you how to deal with adversity. But if you're successful, you're on your way. I always wanted to be a game changer, and I always wanted to make a difference. I teach at a school that has 950 students all the way through. And I teach K-12 music. In the morning, I see a different group of young people every 40 minutes. In the afternoon, I have 3 high school choir classes. So, was I prepared? Yes, I was more than prepared. I know more music than I could ever teach. But I thank God for the opportunity that he opened the door for me to be here through scholarship, and he opened the door for me to have a service-oriented career. Now, if you'll let me, I want to sing a little something that'll tell you something about me. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Oh Lord, let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as our Father. Brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow.